Good afternoon, Commissioners. Call this meeting to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Please remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 is the invocation by Commissioner Wallace.
All right, we're going to keep this short. Bow your heads. Thank you, God, for another day, another meeting, another opportunity to be a voice for our communities. We come to you with an open mind and heart, ready for you to guide us, Lord, to be the leaders you want us to be and the leaders our county needs. I pray prosperity, good health, and wisdom for all. Let your will be done through us and in us, Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Wallace. Item 5 is approval of adoption of the agenda.
Romano adopts the agenda.
Second, Zinner.
Support. Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good, thank you. Item 5 is approval of the minutes dated August 19th, 2021. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Support, Nard.
It's moved and supported. Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is public participation. This is the first opportunity for the public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any item on the agenda. There'll be a second opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak on any issue at the end of the agenda. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to be heard? Yes, sir. Please go ahead and speak up. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Sorry for the inconvenience there.
That's all right. That's the worst thing that happened. We're going to be okay.
Amen to that.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Patrick Daniels. I live at 22900 Dale Allen, Clinton Township, and I am the chairman of Veteran Services for the county. I wanted to come today first and foremost because we have so many new commissioners, so you could see who I am and I could see who you are. I want to tell the new commissioners, I've been on this board, on the Veteran Service Committee for 20 years. Helping veterans every day is what we do over there. And there isn't a county in the state that does more for veterans than we do. And I know Don Martindale's up for reappointment today, and I'm here to speak out on his behalf, and on behalf of the commission, we'd like to see him reappointed. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Don does a great job. We mesh well, all of us. There's no reason that I can think of not to reappoint him. He hasn't done anything that would warrant him not being reappointed. So appreciate your consideration. Stop over at Veteran Services and see what we do. We're there working hard every day. Stop by.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard on the public participation?
Thank you, Chair Brown. County Commissioners, I'm Joel Rutherford. I live at 5683 Storrow Court in Warren. I'm a member and one of the newest members of the Veteran Service Commission, and I'm also supporting Don Martindale to be reappointed. One thing that I've seen is that the commission works together. The politics stay out of it once we close the door and we're reviewing things for veterans. And that's the one thing that I can say. We all work together, regardless of our backgrounds, regardless of our differences. The one thing that we're always able to do is focus on the veterans that need to be served. As Pat said, I think we're probably doing more than any other commission in the state. I think that's something to be proud of, and I hope that, Don can continue his service, because believe me, those of you that know me, if there was something wrong, I would certainly let you know. But, we're doing a great job from what I can see. All I ask for basically is we're allowed to continue to do that job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard under public participation?
I'm Wayne Conner. I'm actually running for the commission, but I know Don real well, and I would actually appointed Don is what I would pick as the person, because he's done a great job on the committee. I was on the committee before, but I think he would be a better choice because he's been on 2 terms.
Thank you. Anyone else under public participation wish to be heard? Anybody else? One last time. Public participation is now closed. Thank you. Item 7 is correspondence from the Executive's Office. There is none. Item 8 is appointments. Item 8A is Veterans Affairs Commission. We have 1 vacancy for a 4-year term to expire on July 31st, 2025. We have Wayne Conner, Jeff Copek, Jessica Kardasz, Don Martindale, Joseph Rheker. The roll call will be called, and you'll have 1 vote. Say the name of the person you wish to vote for during the roll. One with the highest vote wins. So please call the roll.
Okay. Farrington.
Jeff Copek.
Kleinfeld.
Don Martindale.
Kraft.
Don Martindale.
Matusek.
Don Martindale.
Nard.
Don Martindale.
Romano.
Don Martindale.
Sabatini.
Don Martindale.
Van Sickle.
Don Martindale.
Wallace.
Don Martindale.
Song.
Kardasz.
Zinner.
Don Martindale.
Ha.
Don Martindale.
And Brown.
Don Martindale.
Okay, we have 11 for Martindale, 1 for Kardasz, and 1 for Copek.
Very good. Congratulations, Mr. Martindale. You're the new appointee. Item 8B is Substance Use Disorder Oversight Policy Board. We have a 2 vacancies for 3-year terms set to expire on August 30th, 2024. We have Mark Koroi and Ryan Zemke and Lisa Rogers. They have 2 votes. I'm sorry. We have a Substance Abuse Disorder Oversight Board. We have 2 vacancies for 2 3-year terms. Mark Koroi, Lisa Rogers, and Ryan Zemke are the 3 that are up for consideration. You have 2 votes. Please call the roll.
Farrington.
Zemke and Rogers.
Kleinfeld.
Zemke and Rogers.
Kraft.
Zemke and Rogers.
Matusek.
Zemke and Rogers.
Nard.
Zemke and Rogers.
Romano.
Zemke and Rogers.
Sabatini.
Rogers Zemke.
Van Sickle.
Zemke and Rogers.
Wallace.
Zemke and Rogers.
Song.
Rogers, Zemke.
Zinner.
Rogers and Zemke.
Ha.
Rogers and Zemke.
Brown.
Rogers and Zemke.
Okay, Rogers received 13 votes and Zemke received 13 votes.
Very good. Congratulations for their appointments. Item 9 is we have a committee, items approved at committee. Need a motion to receive and file A through C.
So moved by Nard.
Support Van Sickle.
Chair, I'd like to do them separately.
Please go ahead with your motion, Commissioner.
A motion to approve 9A separately, 9B, and 9C.
Okay, we'll take votes on each of them. Item 9A, need a motion to approve the cost share agreement with Chesterfield Township. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Is there discussion on that? Okay, please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have a new
Kleinfeld,
system that went
yes.
black.
Wallace, yes.
Are there any no votes? I can mark them all as yes and then refresh. Okay. We can do,
Okay, the motion
If you
passes.
refresh, it
motion
should come
passes.
up.
Okay.
Hit the refresh button.
It's back. It's refreshed. Okay, item 9B, a contract to approve a Ciparone Contracting for pavement repairs for a contract totaling $209,097.45, counting the matching cost of $104,549 from the Department of Roads. Need a motion to approve item B.
Motion to approve 9B.
Support Nart.
Any discussion on this item?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. This is a receive and file, as are
Yes.
all of these. And I
Yes.
just want to clarify that because there's going to be no votes and it doesn't make sense because all we're doing is accepting that we're making them part of the record. They've already been approved. So it's not a motion to approve, just for correction on that. And
It is motion to receive and file, that's right. So any discussion? Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Item 9C, need a motion to receive and file 9C.
So moved.
Okay, discussion on this item. Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 12-1 with Commissioner Song voting no.
Okay, item number 10, Government Oversight Committee recommendations. This is waived by the committee chair. Item 10A, collective bargaining agreement with Police Officers Labor Council, captains from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. We need a motion to approve.
So moved. Support.
Any discussion on this item?
More, I don't know how to get there. Sorry.
Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple questions, I guess. We haven't had something like this come before, so and no one's speaking on it that I can see. So I'm wondering why it's retroactive.
Actually, we have the HR director here. He could,
Fantastic.
Andy could come up and answer
Thank
some
you, Andy.
questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrington. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There we
Thank you,
go.
Commissioner Farrington, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. If I may, Commissioner Farrington, you're talking about retroactivity. For 312 eligible groups, retroactivity is acceptable, and POLC is a captain's group in our Sheriff's Department. All of the wages flow with a differential for them, and then their benefits also continue in that same way. So really all we were doing with this group, because we had a changeover in their entirety of their body, actually. So every single captain retired. We had all new captains, and one of our captains was a member who was not on drop yet. I know that this is, I presume that you know the drop. And
No, I wouldn't presume that at all.
I won't go into a long I won't go into a long explanation for it. He had not yet retired and then come back as a drop employee, so we'll not touch on that. So he was in a little bit of a different circumstance than most of our captains would be, and so the retirement language was more important to him, and it took us some time to kind of work through that together. And now what we have is the retirement language for all of our units in the Sheriff's Department. That
I
are
guess I
312
still don't understand the retroactivity, though. I mean, even though it's allowed under 312, which happened to write that bill, but I don't understand the retroactivity on why you would go back with 2% increases 4 times in the past versus going forward. So I don't have a problem with the amount or whatever you negotiated. I just still don't understand why it would be retroactive. For, I don't have it right in front of me, but I think it's for 2021 and 2020.
Sure. I guess there would be no reason for them to settle if we didn't do retroactive, and they would go into 312, which would be a long, arduous process where they would get retroactivity anyway. So maybe that's the answer. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrington. Commissioner Matuzek.
This contract expires on December 31st of this year. I'm assuming we are in negotiations for a new contract, or are we going to be in the same problem that Commissioner Farrington was just asking about?
So we're currently in negotiations with our deputies unit and our command unit, and I would anticipate that this unit will follow very quickly behind. I think we took care of everything in this contract that would have been at issue.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Matuzek. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Are we still doing drop? We're not, are we?
We are still doing drop for those who were hired in prior to a certain date. I believe it's January 1st of 2013. I could be a little bit wrong on that date, but yes, those members are eligible for drop.
I protest that. I protest that it ever happened, quite frankly. I do understand that you guys, everybody was grandfathered into all sorts of things back then, but I understand how it was said to save money, and my position is you raise the retirement age or the amount of time you need to serve. You don't let somebody draw twice. It makes no sense to me, but it is what it is. That's separate. The other thing I was going to say is whenever we do these, it's always custom for administration to speak on what's taken place in the contract, what the important points were. I don't know why that isn't happening this time. But that is customary that takes place, so that the board has a general idea of the things that they focused on. Thank you.
You want to address that?
Sure, I agree, Commissioner Kleinfeld, and I appreciate that. This is a little bit different because we usually go before the committee and then we go to the board. That's why I wasn't up here to begin with, because I didn't really know how we were going to go forward. This is my first time being in front of the board in this new setting with these new commissioners in person. So it is unusual, I would say. And hopefully, as we go into the rest of this year, settle some contracts with our police officers here in the county, it'll be the more normal course of action. I don't know why it was, why we moved from the agenda in the committee that we normally go to. I think it was just a super long agenda, and it made sense to pop these here. But I don't know.
Thank you. Anyone else? Need a motion to approve? Or a motion's been made and supported. Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, item 10B, item waived by committee chair, collective bargaining agreement for POAM for 2020-22. Need a motion to approve?
So moved by Nard.
Andy, do you have a brief synopsis of this as well?
Sure. This is a very new unit. These employees were not collectively bargaining before 2021, I would say. And it took us a while to draft an entirely new contract for these employees. There's about 8 of them in that bargaining unit. We now have 23 separate bargaining units that we get to work with. We appreciate each and every one of them, but that's a whole lot. I would have rather they went into a different unit with others, but we now have another group of 8. So I would respectfully request that you approve this brand new first-time collective bargaining agreement for our medical examiner investigators who have a very difficult job, and they do a fine job with it.
Thank you. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Andy, how many years for the medical examiners do they have to work before they hit the retirement package?
So at this point, anybody new hiring in has to work 5 years before they're vested in their defined contribution plan. Prior to that, anybody who hired in prior to 2016, if I'm correct, I believe it was 8 years to vest for pension and 15 for health care, but I'd have to go back and get that answer for certain.
And that was the defined contribution or defined benefit?
Defined
previous?
benefit, which we no longer provide to new employees.
And 8 years, all they had to work to get into it?
You know, it's prior to my time. I believe it was an 8-year vesting period.
I hope we don't do that again. Thank you.
We do not have a defined benefit plan at this time.
Commissioner Haw.
Thank you, Chair. I will say that Andrew and I did discuss this on why it needed to be waived to the full board. It was a timing issue, and that's why it's on today's agenda. So thank you for that. That's all I have.
I apologize, Commissioner Hoff, for not remembering that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Item 10C, Board of Commissioners Rules of Procedure 21 to 22. Need a motion to adopt substituting Rule 18 with the recommendation by Corporation Council. Need a motion on that?
Chair, I would prefer it be a motion with an amendment. What came out of committee was the original.
Motion to adopt was substituting Rule 18 with the recommendation by Corporation Council. That's okay, well, what's the verbiage on that?
We have the version that came out of committee, and so the motion is to adopt that version with the substitution of Rule 18. And that's how I presented it. But if somebody wants to make a different motion,
Commissioner, you want to make a different substitute motion? I'll accept it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the rules that came out of committee. And then during the discussion, if somebody would like to make an amendment, I'm fine with that. But I'd like to make the rules that came out of committee because that's what came out of committee. Thank you.
Is there support for that?
Support, Zong.
Okay. Discussion, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
I'm not sure that I want the rules that attorneys like to write a lot, and we work so hard to condense these and simplify them, and it's just adding so much and almost saying exactly the same thing. If that passes, I'd like to, then if the amendment passes, I'll support the final outcome, but then I would like to go back and not change the intent of what he's doing, but simplify it. It doesn't need to be as wordy as it is, and I want things to be written so that the public that needs to follow them can understand them very clearly. I looked at ours and I don't see that what we have is in violation. Particularly, I do still think that the president ought to be able to interject if there's inappropriate behavior at the podium, and that part was taken out. So anyway, that was my position on that.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak on the motion that was supported? Please vote.
No, if you want to consider the amendment, you need to make it before we vote on that. So if somebody wants to consider that, now's the time to make an amendment to that. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to incorporate that, but other board members might want to incorporate it.
I asked and no one said anything.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
All right, I apologize.
Okay.
I'm not sure what button to push here because I'm trying different things and it's a little.
Clarification, please.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Sharon, no, I'm asking, what are we voting on?
We're voting on Commissioner Kleinfeld's substitute motion.
We're voting on what came out of
Without
committee.
18.
What came out of committee without the change.
Thank you.
Very good.
So
There
Chair.
are rules, so we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Van Sickle, yes.
I'm sorry.
All right.
May I
everyone
make a
voted?
comment? Are we voting?
Yeah, everyone's voted, yeah.
yes, I
Please
just
vote.
need Commissioner Zinner's vote. Motion passes 12-1 with Commissioner Zinner voting no.
Okay. Thank you.
And we just went dark again.
You have to reset button.
On a what? Did you do it again?
No, we're good.
Yeah.
The north side still has a computer.
Item 11, Health and Human Services Committee recommendations. Like a motion to approve A through E.
Song makes a motion.
Support Van Sickle.
Any discussion on any of those items? Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
I just got to reset it again.
Motion passes 13-0.
All right, thank you. Item 12, Internal Services Committee recommendations. Need a motion to approve A through C.
Motion to approve 12A through C.
Any discussion on any of these items? Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay. Item 13, Records and Public Safety Committee recommendations. Motion to approve A and B.
Motion to approve A and B.
Chair, I'd like to separate them.
Please, okay, go ahead.
So makes the motion.
Item 13A, a contract with WellPath Healthcare Services for Juvenile Justice Center for $1,328,700 and $1,328,762. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Discussion. Let's see. Commissioner Matuzik.
Oh, it popped up, I'm sorry.
When this came up in committee, Commissioner Zong made some comments that caused me to go research this company a little bit. Their track record is not great. There have been serious concerns raised about their services, not in our juvenile justice center, but in other places where they hold contracts. I understand that we don't have much of an option at this point, but I did want to note that their track record of providing services and being sued for bad services is pretty significant. I will vote for this time through, but I appreciate Commissioner Zong bringing this to my attention, and I think we really need to look at this company a little more in depth. We don't need to be, so far we haven't done anything negative at our juvenile justice center that we know, but their track record's not good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Matuzik. Anyone else on this item?
Yes.
Commissioner Romano.
Thank you. Hearing Commissioner Zong and Commissioner Matuzik, perhaps it'd be a good idea to have a representative from this particular service in front of this committee so we can ask some questions. If we're not satisfied with what they're doing and we're paying for it, I think it's time we get somebody in front of us and explain what kind of track record they have and why, is it good or bad. Just a suggestion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Song.
I can't click my button. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But since I was mentioned twice, I guess I'll speak to it. I'm just wondering why we're approving it now then. Why are we approving $1 million contract before we even speak to them?
They were brought before the committee. Commissioner Zinner.
I can't do my button either, sorry. We had somebody from WellPath, and she presented herself. She seemed very professional, but if there's a concern, I think at this point, we may consider either going with the contract on a timely basis and having watching, I mean, checking it out somehow. Julie and I could consider it or whatever, I'm not sure, but if not, then we may have to put this off for a time period. But if they need the money now, what do we do if the time is up at this time?
Well, Commissioner, it's certainly within our discretion to not approve this at this time and ask for more information to come back from from the department on answering questions that the committee has if they wish to do so. It's certainly within our realm.
I mean, we have to make sure our juveniles are cared for. That
Well,
is
I'm sure they're not going to
paramount,
be.
of course.
I'm sure they're not going to avoid a contract for $1 million if there's a delay of a month. So, but I don't know. So, but that is our option. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I missed this committee, but I did get to watch it on YouTube last night. Good job, staff. For clarification, Commissioner Zinner, that was Rhonda Westfall. She's from the JJC. She's not from WellPath specifically. And I just wanted to mention that I appreciate Commissioner Zong's comments in committee because I had similar concerns as well. You do a quick Google search of WellPath and it's lawsuit after lawsuit in different states across the country. And even our own jail, not the JJC, but our own jail had issues and just settled a lawsuit with them for $100,000. So I will be voting no for those reasons. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair, and I appreciate and echo their sentiments that this has been an issue. What has also been an issue over the years is Sheriff Wickersham has made it very clear, administration has made it very clear, most companies will not go into this business. Inmates are very litigious, and it's a difficult business to keep afloat because of the amount of lawsuits, and the choices are slim. And according to them, there really haven't been other choices. And if we don't provide this service, then anything that happens falls on the county money-wise with regard to the lawsuits. There is no other entity to point at. If we are providing these services, my understanding is there is a certain amount of responsibility on their end. Doesn't mean we can't be sued, but it means that some of the culpability lies elsewhere. So to me, I was in a rock and a hard place for years on this issue and finally just came to the conclusion, if administration says this is what we have, and they're not going to bring anybody else forward, I have to trust that. Thank you. But I absolutely understand anybody voting no. Thank you.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
My question was, can we do anything in the contract to segment it into like 3-month periods or something, periods of performance or anything?
I'm not sure. I don't have the.
Anyway, that was my question.
Actually, we can answer that this way. If administration would bring that to you, we can't change the contracts that are in front of us.
That's right. Commissioner Haw.
Thank you, Chair. If I recall correctly, when the presenter was here, the indication was, as Commissioner Zinner said, that was the only option that was available. Wasn't necessarily like they were jumping up and down for the service provided. They said we had no issues with the Juvenile Justice Center in Macomb County with this group, but that was the only ones that were bidding on it. So, and I don't believe, as Commissioner Kleinfeld said, I don't believe we can section off a contract that's been presented to us into incremental timing. It's all or nothing, and during the committee presentation, I think, was her name Lynn? Whoever the individual was said these were the only people bidding on it. So we may suggest somebody else in the future, but they have to go find somebody. So I don't think we have a choice here, quite frankly. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. I thought in committee, though, and just looking at the recommendation, there were 2 bidders on this, but WellPath was selected because they were the lowest bidder. But the second bidder was never really discussed in committee. And so theoretically, yes, Commissioner Hall is correct. I mean, it's the contract is in front of us. We have to vote on it as is. But I do agree with Commissioner Kraft and Commissioner Song and their perspective on this as well. I guess no one's here to speak on it specifically, but it would be nice to discuss why this contract or this contractor was chosen over the other, besides just being the lowest bidder. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Nard on the first round.
Just for honorable mention, I just would like to know how long ago was these lawsuits, and what were the circumstances of the lawsuits, before we just kind of cut someone down. It's always good to know that, and was the people that are operating it now working at that same time? So it might be a different circumstance with these people.
I just answered that the most recent lawsuit that we approved for $1 million with the jail suicide, that was WellPath.
What year was that?
That was
how
just
long ago?
a month or two ago.
Okay, so that makes a big difference to me.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Farrington on the first round. Commissioner Farrington on the first round.
Yeah, no, thank you. Two things. One, I was going to repeat what Commissioner Sabatini said, that there was 2 bidders, so it is not the only option. Secondly, this is a 3-year contract, not a 1-year contract. So those that think we have another bite at the apple in 12 months, that's incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Zinner. Chairman Zinner.
Realizing that we have another choice, I think that would be wise to go to the second choice, unless someone has.
What I'll do without
something in it.
objection, I'll pull this from the agenda and we'll send it back to committee. All right, very good. Any more discussion on that, Commissioners?
Just for clarification, the board does not have the authority to just choose the second bidder. If administration doesn't put forth a contract from the second bidder, we don't have a contract to vote on. I just wanted everybody to understand that's not our choice. Thank you.
That's right, they'll come back and they'll review the contract and the board will ask questions and we'll decide then to approve the contract up or down and send it back or not. So, all right, very good. This matter is closed. Commissioner Zahn, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, I just want to say thank you, Chair, and also wanted to mention that WellPath is owned by a private equity firm, and it's also a for-profit organization. So I think we could do better. Thank you.
Sorry, point of order, Chair.
Yes.
If there's a motion and support on the floor, then I don't know if you can just pull it unless
The
they...
motion maker and the supporter withdraw their support. So who was,
I made the motion, I'll withdraw.
and the supporter is?
Just the motion maker, I think, is all that matters. Thank you, Chair.
All right, very good. Okay, very good. Motion's been withdrawn.
We do need to vote on
I don't think we need to vote. I don't think so.
that. I'm taking it off the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right. All right. Item 13B, Budget Amendment, Community Corrections and Sheriff's Office. Need a motion to approve?
Motion. Support.
There's support on that. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, all right, very good. Item 14, Public Services Committee recommendations, items waived by committee chair. Contract with MDOT, Operations Center. Need a motion to approve item 14A.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Is there discussion on this, Commissioner Bryan? Mr. Santo?
Good afternoon, Chairman Brown and fellow commissioners. This is a MDOT contract for the Traffic Operations Center, our Comtech Center. This is an annual allocation, so this is a standard contract to keep the Operations Center open and running for this next calendar budget year. So seeking approval of this MDOT contract in the amount of $3,470,000.
Commissioner Farrington?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How long have we been operating this center, and the cost differential year, roughly speaking?
I believe it's been since about 2013 or so, 2013, 14, when we've run this operation. And we've had a steady increase. I think our initial was probably $2.5 million initially, and it's been bumped up to a current almost $3.5 million as far as operating budget annually.
So 40% in 8 years?
I would say yes, that would be accurate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Item 14B, contract for JSS Macomb, 28 Mile Road, compensating cut evacuation. Need a motion to approve? Moved by Commissioner, moved and supported. Brian, please go ahead.
Yes, this is seeking approval of a contract with JSS Macomb Incorporated for 28 Mile Road compensating cut excavation. So we have a future project that we have as far as a road crossing bridge. And as part of that, we have to fill certain areas within that area. And according to Eagle, we have to have another area that we cut out or excavate to compensate for the fill area that we have to do with our future project. So this is a requirement that we have to, in the same watershed area, have this compensating cut to obviously compensate for the fill that we have with our future project that will be slated for construction next year. So this is to satisfy the requirements of Eagle with our future project that we're going to be doing. So seeking approval of this contract in the amount of, I know our share is $87,436.06, which I think is the total cost.
Any questions on this item? Seeing none, please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Item 14C, local agency contract AECOM, Great Lakes. Brian Santa, would you please, I need a motion on this first. Have a motion?
So move.
This one's not, I'm sorry.
Is there support? Support by Farrington. Okay, please go ahead.
I have items D through H after that. This one isn't part of my department.
Okay. So, is this good? Any discussion on this item? I don't see any. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Brian.
Good afternoon.
Traffic Operations Center, where's that located?
It's in the same building as the back building that we used to occupy. It's at 117 South Prospect. It's our Comtech Center. We have the big screen. The dispatch is out of Sheriff's Dispatch, our emergency operations, and we have our Traffic Operations Center back there.
And how does, excuse me, how does this Traffic Operations Center interact with the MDOT Traffic Operations Center? Are they co-located or?
No, MDOT has their own Traffic Operations Center that they run their state roads throughout the region out of. This is our own center that we run ours out of for Macomb County.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Matuzek.
Brian, what is the difference between this contract and the one we just did?
A was the contract that we have with MDOT. We're receiving monies for the operation of the Comtech Center. H is the contract we have with the actual contractor, the contract staff that supports the operations of our Comtech Center. So it's two different. So it's like...
Yeah, try again. I'm sorry.
So like with our road projects, we have an MDOT contract when we receive federal monies. So we have a state contract with them. Then there's another contract with just the contractor. So this is the same thing. So we're receiving money from the federal government to run the operations of Comtech. So we have an agreement with MDOT to provide certain operations and facilities. This other bottom contract is our contract with the contract staff, ACOM, to support the operations of that center.
So the total cost of the Comtech Center is both of these items?
H is a supplement. So this is as you can see, the total operations cost is 3.47 million. And then the contract that we have for ACOM is just a portion of that. So that's part of the staff that we use and have to pay to run the operations center. There's other costs associated with it, which is the top one, the MDOT contract that we
All right.
receive monies for.
So the answer to my question is yes. If you add these two together, that's the cost of operating Tom.
No, the total cost would be A, and then this is a subcategory of that. This
Okay, so this one is part of that first amount of money
That is
we
correct.
approved. Got
Yes.
it. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry for the confusion.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Matuzak. Commissioner Farrington.
Yes, thank you. Just for clarification, you kept mentioning item H, right? Item C, correct?
Well, item A is the,
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. And the other
Oh,
part
I'm
of
sorry.
it.
I must have.
Yeah, no
that's
problem. I just want to make sure.
My
we're
apologies. I must have
talking
an
about the
old
same thing.
agenda.
And then the other part of it is we're only covering 20% of the cost, correct?
That's correct.
So it's only
Yes.
600,000, not 2.9.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a 20% match as
you.
as far as a local cost. We get 80% coverage from federal government.
Thank you.
okay. Anybody else? Seeing none, please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Oh.
Motion passes 13-0.
Item 14D, waived by committee chair contract, MDOT state trunk line maintenance.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Commissioner Farrington, supported by, no. Brian, please go. Any discussion on this?
I think this was one, looking at
Is
the
there-
revised agenda, this one is not mine. D, you're talking, right? 14D?
Yes.
Yeah.
MDOT state trunk line maintenance. That's you.
Why am I looking at?
Well, I don't know, how does he have different numbers? I wonder how did that happen?
I have
There's-
14D
there's-
as renewal agreement, Clinton-Macomb Public Library.
Just assume that all of these are yours because it looks like all of the waived ones are.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I have 3 waived ones, unless there's a revised one. Sorry. Thank you. Oh, yep, okay. Apologize. I'll get caught up eventually. Yes, 14D is our MDOT state trunk line maintenance contract. So that's an annual program that MDOT contracts us as a road department to maintain, both in winter and summer and throughout the year, their state trunk lines that do traverse the Macomb County area. So we do maintenance on M59, M3, and other state roads throughout Macomb County. And this is seeking approval of this contract. That's an annual contract that supports MDOT with their roadways throughout Macomb County.
Any discussion on this item? Please vote.
Mr.
So,
Chair.
I do have
So-
a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Mike.
Van Sickle, yes.
All right, go ahead, Commissioner Song, sorry.
It says $0. So what is the cost for this?
I believe it's over 5 million. It's probably close to 5.5 million. So normally we seek contracts for others to do work and we pay them. This is MDOT contracting basically the road department to do work for them. So there's no cost to us. We perform the work, we charge and bill them, and we get recouped that money.
Okay, so that's the $5 million?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. So Brian, I mean, this is a 85-page document here. I didn't read every single sentence, and the calculation's a little, I won't say confusing, but how do we calculate the reimbursement that comes back to us from the state on this?
From our very thorough finance department that we have internal to the road department.
Is that a full-time job?
Numerous people, yes. We have very good staff that obviously calculates all the man hours. You know, we generate reports from our maintenance department as far as what trucks, what equipment, what personnel are used on those particular jobs in job orders that are through the state. And that's tracked through our finance department, and associated costs are recouped through them.
So are these projects, is this just ongoing maintenance, and is this open-ended, or how is it specified? Because I always get concerned about these types of contracts with the state, because I feel like $5 million, we always talk about how expensive it is to maintain our roads. And I'm looking at this, and boy, I'd have to go back to statistics to figure this out myself. But I'm concerned, where has this been in the past as far as cost points for us, and has it increased over the years with what we've been going through? I mean, just the cost of materials, everything that we're dealing with, our labor force increases, et cetera, et cetera.
We charge for all the costs. So whatever our costs are, we pass that along to MDOT. So we're not compensating anything by what we're doing as far as an additional cost to the road department of Macomb County. So those are tracked. Material costs, whether it's salt during the winter when we plow and put salt down, all those costs are tracked and charged back to that particular contract.
Surrounding counties, is it done the exact same way?
Yes.
It is?
Yes,
Okay.
Oakland, Wayne, they all have state maintenance contracts and throughout the county. MDOT wouldn't be able to facilitate this themselves, and to try and get private contractors through all the different counties other than going to the road departments or road commissions is pretty prohibitive and not realistic.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Nard.
Hi, Brian. I guess I could have called you and asked you this, but since you said, now, is 8 Mile Road part of MDOT?
8 Mile Road is actually under the jurisdiction of Wayne County. So they maintain and they oversee that section of roadway. Even though it's a border road, they have jurisdiction as far as that roadway is concerned.
Okay, so some of the roads, I was just wondering, because I was wondering if somehow they can contract to help with that 8 Mile, being part of Macomb County, if they could somehow work on that, because it's really, really, really bad. I had to get my car fixed twice, hitting potholes. So I was just wondering if they had anything to do with that. Just trying to get some clarity on who actually owned that part of 8 Mile.
Yeah, that's a jurisdictional land. Like I said, that's under the jurisdiction, that's a border road, and that's under the jurisdiction of maintenance of Wayne County.
Okay, so both sides of it?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
I'm sorry, it's off topic, so I'm not going to belabor it, but I thought that was a state highway, so.
Yes, but we don't maintain that.
No, we know that, yeah, that's settled. It's not us. But I thought it was the state, but it's definitely not us. Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. And seeing no one else, please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 14E, renewal of agreement, Clinton-Macomb Public Library.
Chair, I would entertain E through I.
All right. Support.
Support.
Any discussion on any of those items?
Take care.
Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. Item 15, ordinances. 15A, ordinance 2021-3, FY 2022 September year-end funds budget appropriations ordinance.
Motion to approve Kleinfeld.
Support, Nard.
Any discussion on this? Any discussion on this item? Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 16A, proclamation commemorating Nick Jarsky and his tremendous efforts in the Baltimore Water Department. Offered
Motion
by
to
Commissioner
approve.
Kraft. Motion's made by Commissioner Kraft. Is there support? Support. Any discussion? Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I passed on discussing on this during committee in hopes that Nick would be here, but I'm guessing he's at work. But I wanted to commend Nick Jarsky. He is one of the workers at the New Baltimore water plant. New Baltimore has their own water treatment plant that supplies the city of about 14,000 people. There were a couple bins that were mislabeled, and they were actually 93% sulfuric acid, which is not good for any of us. And as he was starting to do the treatment process, he noticed a chemical reaction that is not normal and had the training and wherewithal to stop and realized that that was could have been absolutely awful for the city of New Baltimore. And with everything that's happened with our water supplies elsewhere in the state, Nick's fast acting, attack to this was fantastic and probably saved our little city of New Baltimore and all its people. So I commend Nick. I'm going to go visit him at some point since he couldn't make it today, congratulate him himself. He's a humble guy. He's a very nice guy, and just doing his job, he'll tell us all, but in my mind, he saved the city. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
No doubt that would have been a disaster of unparalleled proportions. Motion's been made and supported. All those please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Item 16B, a proclamation honoring the First United Methodist Church on the occasion of their 200th anniversary, offered by Commissioner Wallace.
So moved.
Need a motion? Motion by Commissioner Wallace. There's support. Support by Commissioner Farrington. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll talk on this one. This is a church in Mount Clemens, and this church, the first church in Mount Clemens, and from their research, the first church in Macomb County. They're just a great group of people that are always willing to give and serve, which is an awesome thing to have that kind of the base of your church. So when I found out about this anniversary, I wanted to be able to celebrate with them and give back as they give to so many. During the pandemic, they were able to raise funds and give back to local kids, so because they couldn't do so much, so just things that they could do around their homes and purchase bikes and things like that. So I just wanted to be able to celebrate with them in this occasion.
Very good. Anybody else? Commissioner Matuzak's also on this resolution, proclamation. All those please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Thank you. 200-year-old church in our community, that's quite unique. I didn't know there was one so old. Right. New business. You may have noticed our new employee, our new person working in our board office, Mary Hare, is at the front desk looking over our clothes rack. Commissioner swag available for you for purchase. Please encourage you to go by the rack and find something that you'd like, if you like, and let them know, and the board will order it for you. So, unfortunately, we don't have a changing room, but you'll have to give them the right size and check it out later. But thank you for the staff for putting together. It's kind of a cluster of things to try to pull together. So I'm glad they did that for us. So,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If I may.
Yes.
They're allowing you to put on the logo.
Yes.
On any of that material. And it's just a suggestion, and I'm not, this is not a paid commercial, but Commissioner Song over there does the same thing in her shop. And you could probably purchase any shirt or jacket or whatever you want and have the logo of the commissioner's logo on there, unless it's what do you call it? I'm sure any logo can be put on there. And I would think that before I would go to pay these people, I'd give to Commissioner Song and her 4 children. So just a thought. I just thought I would say it, mention it. I don't know if that's a protective logo, or is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Good question.
Consult with our attorneys.
I would think it's just saying county commissioner. That's all it's saying on it. So I don't think that'd be a problem. But anyway, just a thought. Spend the money there instead of here. That's all. Thank you.
Let us know how much his check is when he writes you out a check, okay?
I do think
Does that come with a free lunch?
I think you'd still need permission to do the logo, but I certainly could do that in different colors and sizes as well.
All right. Free shipping and handling also.
Yes, deliver right to your door.
All right. Commissioner Haw.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to mention we had our last update on the retirement system. Our last quarter, we made 38.7%, bringing us to a total of $16.8 billion in the 3 retirement systems. So congratulations to all, including Gary, who's one of the members of, I believe, all 3 of the retirement boards, just 2 as well. Lastly, I'd like to mention my 15-year-old granddaughter who received her varsity letter as a freshman in track and is an honor roll student over at LHN, was elected to the homecoming court this weekend. So that's where I will be tomorrow night. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you. I can clarify with regard to the logo. I mean, we already can put it on apparel. We can't put it on apparel that says vote for, but where we take that apparel to get logos put on is up to us. There's no requirement to go to a specific location. And just for the public's knowledge, Commissioner Romano is not throwing county business Mai's direction. This would be money coming out of our own pocket for any of this apparel that we purchase. I just didn't want any confusion there. And then the only other thing I want to say, well, I did hand over the MAC reins. That was a fun weekend, very, very busy. But the only other thing I wanted to say was, and we've talked about this before when we've had proclamations that we have voted on that's wording has changed before full board. Anything we do at full board should always start with what came out of committee. And then any changes should be in the form of amendments after that, just for cleanliness purpose, that whatever's voted out of committee should be what we start with at full board. It's been a couple times where things have been changed in between and we really shouldn't. Try to do, even though this wasn't changed in between, trying to do a motion with the change in the motion kind of takes away the cleanliness of starting with the original motion and then doing an amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. Yes, Commissioner Kleinfeld concluded her term as chairman of MAC 2 years and did a great job. I saw her at the start, saw her at the finish. It was a big job. She's really respected by county commissioners from across the state for her work that she's done, and she's done us all very proud by serving on MAC and being our voice there, and encourage us all to get more involved in MAC. It's an important process, plays an important role in what happens to us in county government. We're often the tail of the dog on state budgets, and better to speak up early rather than late. So.
Oh, I just wanted to say I will be missing meetings next week because as the past president, I'm still on NACO, so I'm in Utah next week. Thank you.
Duly noted. You'll be excused. All right. Next is Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 2 things real quick. First, just a reminder, the Community Mental Health Board is doing a legislative breakfast tomorrow for our state reps, senators, and commissioners if you can make it. And if you can't make it, it will be recorded so you can watch it when you can't fall asleep. Because I'm the MC, so you get to listen to me for a good chunk of time. Number 2, I just want to thank all the commissioners, all of our staff, the county executive, his office, staff, countywide, electeds, everybody who reached out to me and my family during the last couple of weeks, the gifts by this board as well. I greatly appreciate it. I don't know, I can't even express how much it means to me and my family during these last couple of weeks. It's been extremely hard, but your well wishes have been much appreciated, and I wanted to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. Is that CMH meeting virtual tomorrow?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
But the food isn't.
Bring your own food.
Yes.
If I may again, tomorrow being Friday, the Chaldean community is breaking ground on 19 Mile in Van Dyke for their new housing project and also some, I understand some retail outlets. There's, I want to say 184 units are being there. And Commissioner Song had the foresight to have a proclamation made up, which I certainly appreciated, being in Sterling Heights and Mr. Van Sickle's area also. So I'm going to be there. I think Mr. Van Sickle is going to be there, and Commissioner Song has a proclamation. So and
I'll be there.
Commissioner Matuzik's going to be there. So it's a groundbreaking that's been, I think it's been 8 years in the making, and it's going to be quite an affair. So if you have nothing else to do other than, what did you mention? See Mr. Kraft? Or what else do we have tomorrow morning? It's a hard choice, but everybody's welcome. It's at 10 a.m. It'll be at Van Dyke and 19 and a half mile road. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Romano. Commissioner Matuzik?
Chair Brown yesterday bestowed upon me the honor of chairing the Older American Advisory Committee, which previous commissioners actually had to take the county executive to court to get created. Many of you don't know, especially the new folks, that there is a person on this Older American Advisory Committee that represents you. Your predecessor picked that person. So I had the privilege of meeting my person, who I did not know, and the other members on this committee. They are up for reappointment or a new appointment. I know Crystal sent out the email about that. I encourage you to either find the person who's currently on there, if you don't know them, and see if you want to reappoint them, or find a new person. There are a number of vacancies, people who are not continuing on. But we had a lively discussion about a number of ideas and issues. I think it's a valuable resource to provide to us feedback from the senior community. So this is something, as I said, previous boards had to go to court to get. We should not let it fall by the wayside. So I encourage you all to nominate or renominate someone to represent senior interests in your district. Thank you.
Excellent, Commissioner Matuzak. You're right on. Thank you.
Chair, you skipped me. This is Commissioner Song.
Commissioner Song?
Thank you. No hard feelings.
No.
I just want to say welcome back, Phil, and happy anniversary to you as well, 4 years. And congratulations, Veronica, for serving 2 years on MAC. Myself and Commissioner Zinner, Van Sickle, and Brown went to Mackinac Island this past week for the MAC conference, and I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed it, meeting other commissioners across the state and learning about what they've been doing, and also attending some of the workshops that was at the conference, including one about mental health, funding, and roads. So I thought it was really interesting, and I urge all of you to, go to the next one because it's very informative and it's a great way to network with other commissioners across the state. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Song. I'm getting new glasses, so this will be less of a problem when I get my new glasses. They're Coke bottles, actually, but we'll call them glasses. Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you. I was actually going to say happy anniversary to Phil as well, and then mention about the breakfast tomorrow. If you guys can jump on Zoom and join us, that would be great. And one last thing for me, I'm always talking about kids in sports. Mount Clemens has started a cross-country team, which I've been invited to be assistant coach for. We went to our first meet yesterday, and one of our guys, we have 3 guys, but that's still a big deal, guys. So one of our guys came in second, and that was very exciting. He's a senior, so he's all the way home. He talked about like college and, who can he look at, who can look at him type of thing. So it's just really exciting. We will be running this weekend at Freedom Hill this weekend and the 2 weeks after at Freedom Hill. So if any of you guys want to watch some kids run, we'll be there. Represent Mount Clemens where you're at.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Wallace. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, that conference was It was wonderful. It was great. The weather was perfect. If we were outside, we weren't outside that much. People, I know when I got off the ferry going there, the gentleman next to me said, well, I hope you do some work there. And we had a lot of conferences to go to. It was really pretty busy. But the really nice part was the food was phenomenal, which is really a treat. I'm looking around here and thinking when you talk about the Older Adults Committee, in several years or many years, we may all be there together in the future. Wouldn't that be something? I think that would be a great thing. And tomorrow I will be on that committee. I was going to go to the Chaldean opening, and I will be with you too on that committee because that's our committee. And anyway, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Zenner. I will also be joining you at the Chaldean opening tomorrow. Commissioner Romano, all the commissioners will be there. We'll have a little gathering over there. We won't be violating the Open Meetings Act, I don't think. I'll only limit to my majority, but it'll be very good. So, all right, very good. We'll close that. Public participation. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Seeing no one, we'll close public participation. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Zinner.
Those in favor, please vote. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Have a good afternoon.